folks, and welcome back to another video in our summer series. Now today we're going to be covering a really important subject, and that is the life-threatening tick-borne disease of babesiosis. And you may have heard of it as biliary, or more commonly referred to as tick bite fever, and it is something that we see in the spring months, through the summer and into autumn. And as the name suggests, it is carried by a tick, a particular species of tick, and when the tick bites, if the tick is infected, then it can transfer that infection into the bloodstream of your pet, where it then is taken up into the red blood cells of your pet, and this begins to cause a destruction of the red blood cells of your pet as it multiplies and spreads through the bloodstream. Now, the symptoms that you need to be aware of to recognize this disease in the early stages are as follows. First of all, your pet will more than likely be struggling with a fever, and this is most easily recognized by a simple dullness. You know, your pet might just seem very quiet, dull, depressed. You can take the temperature of your pet, and you can always check in with your vet depending on the temperature that you pick up. So that's a more quantitative way of measuring it, so a good idea to have a thermometer at home, so that you can be on the ball and give information to your vet. But certainly you know, if a dog has a temperature over 39.5, that is a good indicator that your pet does have a fever. Now, there is a range of temperature, and sometimes even below 39.5 it may be significant, but in some cases your pet might have a fever of over 40, and then it is almost certainly regarded as a fever. So, you know, there's just a small tip worth getting a thermometer in the home during the summer months if you do live in a tick infested area. But in addition to the fever and your pet feeling generally dull and without energy, you'll notice that as a result of this, they probably disinclined to eat. They might not eat at all, or they might eat much less than they otherwise would. So, you know, watch at meal times whether your pet is eating or not, because that can tell you so much. And a lot of people talk about the temperature of their dog's nose, you know, if it's dry or not. This is really not something that we as vets resort to, because it's very misleading. So in terms of their energy levels and their temperature, you know, those are more accurate. And in addition to that, it's a really good idea to just lift the lip of your pet and look at their gums. Now, this is something it's a good idea to get an idea of just the normal color of your pet, and I'd suggest that you do this today. Just see how pink they normally look, so that if they're dull and depressed and you're worried about whether they have babesiosis or biliary, as we said earlier, and they look paler than this, well, this is a very, very good indicator that they are more than likely struggling with biliary, and particularly if you've seen ticks on them. And in addition to that, you might notice that they're drinking more than usual while they have stopped eating, and they just you know, not running to greet you and laying low. So any of those symptoms may it be a red flag to recognize that all is not right. And with biliary, we always recommend that you get to your vet as soon as possible. Really do not delay, because this can advance very, very quickly, and it is a life-threatening disease with many potential complications. In the early stages, it is very often treated very effectively, and your pet will respond very quickly. That's the good news, although we always recommend that you watch them very closely for a while, but don't delay, because many pets have lost their life when it is not taken seriously enough in the early stages. So that is tick bite fever, or biliary, or babesiosis. Be on the lookout for it, and take action as soon as possible if in doubt. Your vet can do a simple blood test that can tell you if your pet has it or not, and treatment can be instituted immediately. So there you go. I hope you found that helpful. That is biliary in a nutshell, and next week we'll be dealing with a tick-borne disease in cats. So stay tuned for that. Until then, have a great week.